All right. T-Bull here. Got Gurren on the screen. We got the Leningrad Tier 6 Russian Soviet Premium Destroyer. Just came out today. A little bit different build than you've seen me running. I wanted to highlight this one because it is an option on the Leningrad and the Tashkent, the Tier 7 Tech Tree ship. More of a torpedo focus. And we got that Otago commander, which reduces the detectability of the torps. That actually brings the reaction time, which is basically a calculation that it's not a stat in game, but it calculates how long the torps are on the screen from the time they become visible to the enemy till the time they actually hit them. 6-second reaction time, which is god tier. That's actually, I think it's the best at the tier, at least on my builds, and it's one of the best in the game. So very dangerous. I still prefer the Troops build, which I run Vian and Sims on. More of a durability build. Much better HE performance. I think we'll see some HE versus some destroyers here. And the guns aren't quite as effective as I normally like on these Russian destroyers. So this isn't my preferred build, but it is a strong option. So I did want to highlight the build on this video. Leningrad's basically a Minsk with 8-kilometer torps instead of 4 kilometers. Minor tweaks here and there, but overall I think the Leningrad is the superior ship just due to the functional nature of the torps, where you can actually launch them from stealth. So here we got a game on Trident. We're playing the western flank. Minsk pops up on the screen here. We'll get some torps down before he spots us. We do have Bay on this build, which I don't normally run on these, so we did spot him early. Got the torps down. Got the first shot. We'll just proceed to gun him down until the situation gets a little hot. Then we're going to go ahead and pop the smoke. Now the gun performance against the Minsk, not too bad. I think we end up dueling the other destroyer later in the match. And there, I don't know if the ship was saturated. We'll take a look when it pops up. But the damage output later on against, I think it's a Maz, was not quite as effective as this one. So again, I think Trubitsky, these are primarily gunboats, even if they have functional torps. And Trubitsky just has the better gun performance overall. Gurren, of course, the AP performance goes way up. You got AP Pen as the base trait of the commander, and you can also enhance it further with the perks. There we weren't too concerned about the torps because we knew he was greater than 4 kilometers away, so didn't really have to worry about dodging those particularly. But we do want to kind of get out of here. The Terps is pushing in, and the support ships look like their attention's at least starting to turn our way here. So Hood actually is the one that ends up blasting us here, but maybe should have disengaged a little bit earlier. We do take a bit of a wicked shot there. Looks like about quarter to a third of our health gone already. So you got to be careful with these. My mantra with the Russian destroyers is don't get too close to their support ships. Kind of stay closer to your support ships. Tirpitz looks like he's going to beach himself there, so we're attempting to get some torps. Want to pull forward so that front edge of the island doesn't clip the shot, but he's going to hit the island. We expect he's going to attempt to back up once he does, so I'm trying to aim those torps accordingly. Whether or not we'll have the range, we'll find out here in a second. Hood disappears because we got behind our previously laid smoke cloud, and then we're just going to take a shot or two. End up missing them there, but worth taking the shot. You always want to be pumping out as much damage as possible, and whenever you're undetected, you get those free shots. Be sure to try and take them whenever possible. Tirpitz is getting low here. Secondaries are going off. That's not a great feeling, but of course, until the secondaries are buffed someday, not really all that concerned about it. What we are concerned about is running into islands like a complete scrub. Could have been a bit of an issue there. Steering's knocked out, but luckily for us, the Hood is no longer, he doesn't have a clear line of sight for us, doesn't look like, so not as big of an issue there. The Hood definitely seems to want to kill me. Let's just put it that way. Speaking of wanting to kill people, though, I kind of want to kill the Hood, and we have the block line of sight here. So I'm going to kind of push in while we're waiting for that steering gears to heal itself. Still have the engine boost active, so we're going to try and get in there and hopefully pop some torps in the Hood's direction. Now, these Soviet destroyers, even with Bay on here, the concealment's not great, so you do have to keep an eye on that blue detection. I think I actually get a little overzealous here, pushing pretty aggressively. We do get spotted there. We should already know that the Hood is interested in our blood. So a little bit of a risky play, but we do get the torps down. and we turn away to dodge that shot. And Soviet destroyers, you got to be dodging. Gurren, interestingly enough, really enhances the speed. Now this ship is very fast to begin with. I got 43 knots on my troops build, but it probably gets up to, I don't know, 44, 45 with Gurren if you have the applicable perk active, of course. Now you can see these torps, he has no chance to react. I mean, they count 6 seconds from when they hit them. That's how long they're on the screen. That's very, very dangerous. So if you have a Tago from the Azure Lane Commander Collection or whatever the hell it was called, probably the best all-around commander in my opinion. Number one, it's great for the Japanese cruisers. A little bit more challenging than Macau, who I traditionally have favored due to the mobility and the ability to dodge and the additional speed you get on that build. But very solid, you know, in terms of offensive output. But inspiration-wise, extremely dangerous. I got it not on all my destroyers, but the ones that I kind of have a torpedo focus on, definitely have it on there. We have the max level Tago 16.2 at least, so extremely dangerous. Shaves about a second and a half off the reaction time when you get it up to that level. And then here, previously, while I was just talking, you can kind of see a tactic that you want to be using with these Soviet destroyers. Kind of be kiting away, moving away from the targets while you're shooting, and then use your max shooting range as a way to disengage, because once you have no enemy ships within your max firing range, you'll drop off a detection, your detection will go back down, then you can kind of reset the situation. So rather than constantly pushing forward at people and trying to gun them, when you get into these gun battles with ships, you usually want to be moving away from them, and that'll give you the option to disengage just by moving away in that manner. So looking pretty good so far. We're up a ship, we're up on score. What could go wrong, right? Well, if that's what you're thinking, you're obviously new to the game, so welcome to World of Warships Legends. But your teammates will go out of their way to throw the game any chance they can get, so keep that in mind. So never look at the ship count or the score and think, oh, we got this wrapped up, let's start playing fast and loose. Usually, as an aware player, and I know you are an aware player or are in the process of becoming one because you're going out of your way to watch videos and learn more about the game, which your average players won't do. But aware players, you know, you have extra value to your team because you actually know what's going on. And, you know, trying to stay alive is important just because once you're dead, even if you leave your team a nice lead, they'll often go out of their way to throw that down the trash. Anyway, CNOP here's within range. We're going to get those torps down. I launched one on the indicator, one to the right, just in case he slows down or turns in, which we expect him to do. But our teammates pelting them. Russian battleships, broadside, not a problem. You know, those are very, very easy to kill in that situation. When they're nose in or pointed away from the targets, they become extremely durable. Most people like to point their battleships broadside at their targets, though, which, as you can see with the CNOP, does not work out for the Russians very well. Anyway, we got some damage. Someone's got him on fire, so we can tell his damage con's not active, but of course the torps take him out of the game, so flooding is not really a major consideration. One thing I haven't pointed out yet is the torp reload on this is excellent. We got 92 seconds, which, I mean, it's not the best, but compared to, you know, 98 for the Minsk, you get the torps reloading quite quickly, so able to get a lot of torps down here. Here we're using the smoke. I want to reposition my ship to kind of get my guns in play here. Now you'll notice we're behind the smoke, and as long as there's no planes in the air, that's not a problem. But as soon as that plane that's on the map kind of comes closer within range, as we're behind the smoke there, we're able to get spotted. So trying to move forward back into that cloud just to drop detection. You can see there we drop down as the middle of our ship enters the smoke. That's where the middle of the ship is always where the vision aspects of the game is calculated, whether you can have a line of sight on target or whether you're in smoke or behind cover, so on and so forth. It's always calculated from the middle of your ship. So now that we're gonna have the smoke for a little bit longer, we're trying to get the fire down on the Scharnhorst here. Shooting at the targets usually makes them react. Now, we're not his primary threat in terms of guns, but I do want to keep shooting at him to try and get him to turn. If I can get him to turn one way or the other broadside, then he might eat more of those torps in the side. If he continues pointing at us, he might dodge the entire salvo or might get hit by one there. We didn't actually see what happened, but we can assume he turned a little bit. Yeah, there's the confirmation there. So either me or my teammate shooting at him caused him to try and turn either to angle or just because that's what he felt like doing in that instance. And we got him with a couple torps there. So you can see the torps, even on the troop setup, they're pretty effective. Now, they're not quite as effective as when you're running the Gurren build, but, you know, it's nice to have these high-level gunboats that actually have functional torps. Of course, the Tashkent at Tier 7, that's kind of the reward for grinding out the line. You actually get those functional torps at that tier. But here at Tier 6, we got kind of a down-tiered version of the Tashkent. Now, what's the next play? You can see we've been getting in and out of the cap. That's to stop them from accruing points. I'm not trying to capture the base at this point in time. But now that the Maz has popped up, we want to deal with him. He's, of course, torping the battleship that's rushing him. But the battleship, I think, is proxy spotting him due to him being within the 3-kilometer range. So we take some shots there. And let's take a look at the damage output on the Maz here as we're going. I remember playing this match thinking, man, these guns are just... Either I was missing some shots or the damage was just not quite there. And that's when I was kind of thinking, oh man, troops would definitely have no problem handling this guy. Get some torps down into that smoke, of course, just in case he's sitting there. And the Baltimore, why is there a radar cruiser left alive with 3 ships left on each side? No idea. Poor target selection. Radar cruisers need to die right off the bat. Especially battleships. Shoot those radar cruisers. Get rid of them. Because now we have a major problem. Destroyers late in this game are extremely valuable, but a radar cruiser pushing into me, massive threats. So I want to deal with this Maz. It's important for me. I'm even willing to trade my ship for the Maz at this point in time just because he's a little bit more effective in terms of stealth torping and spotting, so on and so forth. But, you know, the radar cruiser's presence actually ends up leading to our death here because I think we end up taking at least 1 salvo from him. So it's unfortunate that our team was not kind of doing their job earlier in the match. But you can see here we're kind of getting these little piddly shots on the Maz. Not kind of the damage that I'm usually expecting from the Soviet gunboat type destroyer-on-destroyer fights. Nevertheless, we're able to get some shots down. We do take them out, but unfortunately we go down as well. Now, I'm not going to play the rest of this match, but let's just say my team, you can see on the score, why we're up so big on score is because of our team getting into the cap repeatedly, stopping them from accruing points. These guys, though, you know, let's just cut it here. They made it a extreme nail biter. We did end up winning the game, though, so that's good. And I'll point out I probably would have at least strongly considered putting this in as a Tier 6 ranked recommendation for my video earlier this morning had I tested it prior to making that video. Anyway, I do like the Leningrad. I would recommend it for those of you that are interested in these type of destroyers. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, well, consider subscribing. There's a lot of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. I do love to hear from you. And we'll see y'all later. All right, peace.